The production of mechanical drawings tends to be quite repetitive. You're generating parts, and normally families of parts, lots of nuts, bolts, assemblies, shafts, everything really that involves a mechanical basis. So what we need to do is look at creating a template. Now the template is a DWT file, a drawing template file, unlike a DWG. Now you'll see at the moment I've got 04 using a standard DWG open. What we're going to do, we're going to utilize the settings in this particular drawing, and then we're going to set ourselves a standard. Now standards are already preset in AutoCAD Mechanical, and we'll look at those in a moment. The first thing we need to do is set our units. Now we've done that before. So I'll just go to the Home tab here, make sure everything is set up the way I want it to be. I'm going to type in the word units, like we did previously. And this is where units come into their own now, because you're applying them against a known standard. Now, because I'm working in metric, I'm going to be using the ISO standard, ISO, International Standards Organization. So my decimal lengths here are going to work to a precision of 3 decimal places. My angles are decimal degrees, and they're going to be, again, 3 decimal places. Insertion scale will be millimeters. Clockwise will not be ticked because I'm assuming the default rotation direction for arcs and measuring angles, which is going to be counterclockwise. So when I check direction here, I'll start with east at 0, like that. I'll OK that, and I'll OK that. So my units have now been set. Now I need to check which standard I'm going to use. Now I do this in my options. So it's a right click, go to options on the shortcut menu, and you'll see there now, this is all the standard tabs, files, display, and so on. If I hit these little arrows here though, you'll see lots of tabs that begin with AM. Now, as I said previously, that's not morning, as in on the clock, as in 9 AM in the morning. What it is AutoCAD Mechanical. So these are tabs that are specific to the AutoCAD Mechanical settings. And you'll notice when you're working with standards, you have an AM Standards tab. When I click on there, you'll see now, this is where it all comes together. So, we have standard. I click on the down arrow. There's all my standards that I can use. If I go to GB, that's a Great Britain standard. If I go to BSI, British Standards Institute, and so on. You've also got DIN standards, which tend to get used in Europe, like so. And you've also got ANSI, American National Standards Institute. So you'll see that there's lots of different standards. And as soon as I select a standard, look, ANSI is American, so it goes to English, inch and feet. If I go to BSI, it goes to metric. If I go to ISO, it also goes to metric. So that's where these standards kick in. I want ISO there and I want metric there. So that's fine. I'm using my ISO standard. Now we'll look into actually editing a standard in a moment and perhaps creating a new one. I just want to use that ISO standard for my template. So I now OK that, and that's been applied to this drawing. So all I've got to do now is save my template file. So I go here now, like so, and I do a save as, and as you can see there, it's saving my drawing as using a standard.dwg. I don't want that. So I go down here to files of type, and you'll see there, mechanical drawing template, DWT. As soon as I do that, it goes to the template folder, which is the default AutoCAD template folder. I'll show you that in a moment. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to create a new template, so we give it a name, and I'm going to call it, let's say, company. I'm putting it all in capitals so it stands out as well. And I'm going to put company ISO template, like so. When I click on save now, it'll also prompt me for a description. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to put metric ISO standard template for company use. And what I'll also put in there as well is in brackets ISO standard. Now that means that it's using the ISO standard, the default AutoCAD ISO standard as well. So when I click on OK there now, that becomes my company ISO template.dwt. Now this is where the trick kicks in. If I've got loads of drawings to do now to that ISO standard, I can use the company ISO template. So if I close the DWT now, it's been saved, don't need to worry about saving it, and then go to New. Because I've got the startup dialog set to 1, the Start from Scratch dialog box appears. I click on User Template, and if I scroll down there, there's my company ISO template. So I click there, and I OK that. It will open up a new drawing now. Notice it's a DWG file, and if I right click and go to Options there, and go to my AM standards, you'll see it's using an ISO standard with a measurement of metric. So as you can see, it's all set up, ready to go for me to start work and save that drawing as a file name in my AutoCAD mechanical project.